Hey, everybody. My next guest is the program director, engineer, and manager of the famous Governors Comedy Club podcast studio. And his own show, Knock 'em Dead Comedy, can be found weekdays from 11 to 12:30 on their very own YouTube channel. Here he is, the one and only Tony Walker. I need a block for here for whenever I say your name. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's every day. Every time your name comes up, which is at least once a day, I just go like this. And even some of the people that come in, they'll actually grab it and go like that if they say your name. So yeah, it's a cool little inside joke, and I don't even know how it started. But
Yeah, it's awesome, and I love it. It's a great picture, and that was a great day, man. That was a great
yeah,
day.
Comic Sans, baby.
Yeah, that's the day we premiered Comic Sans. It was a huge day, bro. That was me and you, man. We produced that movie, and you produced it, and we just made it happen, man. And I always give a lot of credit to Governor's Comedy Club. Joe and James over there for man. They hooked us up, and I can never thank them enough for all of their help with getting this movie forward. And just a great day, man.
Yeah,
That was a great day. So every time you show that
absolutely.
picture, it fills me with pride. But speaking of like Comic Sans and stuff like that, there's a lot lately, dude, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. There's been all these like a lot lately. It seems more than normal. Comedian documentaries we've been seeing, like you got the Eddie Murphy one, John Candy, Stilla and Mira, and they all have been great, and I've
Yeah.
enjoyed every one of them, some more than others, you know. And then there was even one Steve Martin one. I don't know if you saw the Steve Martin one. It was a little boring, actually, and I was like, how do you make Steve Martin boring? But they managed to do it in that doc.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I love Steve Martin. I'm a big Steve Martin fan, but yeah, there wasn't like any big revelations there. But at the same time, that's kind of refreshing,
Right?
to know
Yeah.
that he was just kind of pretty much a normal guy who just, did his thing and had a good career,
Yeah.
But I'm with you. And I have to say, if you don't mind, you mentioned the Still and Mirror. I mean, that might be, that definitely makes my top three documentaries of all time.
It was really good, and I think what made that one good too is because you have different generations of the family that became stars, like Ben Stiller, who's a movie star in his own right, and actually I think over he was started his career under the shadow of Stiller and Mira, but I think
Right.
now he's a star in his own right, and still he overshadowed them now. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
his
absolutely.
his career overshadowed Stiller and Mira. Um, but yeah, that was a great doc because he was like in that one, for people who haven't seen the Stiller and Mira, and I think you should see it. It's on Apple TV. It's basically Ben Stiller and his sister going through the apartment of their parents who are now both passed away, and they were both legends, a comedy duo, husband and wife comedy team, Stiller and Mira, who broke a lot of ground in like the '60s, and basically they're saying goodbye by packing up all their shit and going through it all, and the Stiller, the father, um, recorded everything, man, documented everything, dude. And Ben went
Everything.
through went through it all.
It's crazy. Yeah. Which kind of makes sense as a comedian. You record everything because you don't know what's going to be said and what ideas are going to spark out of a simple conversation. So it was a great idea and very interesting to hear some of those things and to have recordings even of the bad moments, of having fights and stuff. But Jerry Stiller was. What I love about the documentary is that you really get a feel of how much he loved his career and how much he loved his wife and family and wanted to just have this career in entertainment, but also, provide and be a family man, and which is a hard balance. Watch a lot of these documentaries, and a lot of these people fail at one of them.
Right, yeah.
And Jerry Stiller, nailed it.
I think Ben had that great moment in there where he talks about how the difference between Still and Mirror is how Jerry, like you said, he embraced the fame and loved the fame and always take time for his fans, and was it Helen Mirror, right? She was always like
And Mirror.
Ann Mirror. She was always kind of like not wanting that spotlight, and they're in the middle of a conversation, a fan comes over, and Jerry would take the time and talk, hey, so anyway, and then Ben's daughter goes, "Oh yeah, it sounds familiar, like kind of like you, Dad." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess I got a little more Jerry in me than I have Ann, you know."
Yeah.
And I just love the dynamic, and it's funny that Ann, the one who didn't really want the fame or never considered herself a comedian, she was the one that carried the team. She was the funny one,
Right.
you
Yep.
know. And Jerry was smart enough to know that, you know.
Yeah. It was basically stuff that she would say and do that he turned into bits.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So that was a great documentary. But this latest one that came out on CNN, you can watch it on CNN on demand or whatever. I think it's coming on HBO also. I think they're going to put it on HBO. But it's I'm Chevy Chase and You're Not, which is the documentary about Chevy Chase. It's his life and career of this comedy legend, and basically at the center of it all. So it's a career like a biopic, bio type thing. And a lot of guys done, like Pee Wee Herman has done this in his documentary also.
Another great
Where,
one.
yeah, that's a great one. Where these guys are at the end of their careers, but want to do this documentary, kind of package up their career and say, hey, look, like almost like a goodbye type of a thing, or this is how I want to be remembered type of a thing, right? But at the center of the whole thing, of all the great things that Chevy has done, is this looming he's an asshole thing. Like this looming
Right.
thing that this guy's a fucking douchebag asshole. And it's like it's constantly to the point when you see him, like once somebody gets vilified, you can't you see them differently, right? So every time
Yeah.
Chevy is trying to be funny, he comes across as an asshole. Even in the old shit he did, all you see is this guy's a fucking asshole.
This is Chevy Chase.
Nice to meet you, Tom.
Were you named after the town in Maryland, or is that your real
That's
name?
my real name. No, it is my real name. In fact, I was named that 2 days after I was born. But we don't want to stay on that, do we?
No, we certainly don't. It's going absolutely nowhere.
This is the beauty of live. You can move right on.
Yes.
That I'll tell you, he's a very interesting character, Chevy Chase. And he even says it in the documentary at one point that he just never cared. He just never cared.
Right.
And you can see that. You can just see it in everything he did. He just didn't care and said whatever he wanted to say, joked around however he wanted to joke around, like he just didn't care. But yet so talented and so funny that it, I would say 90% of the time it worked. Yes, he is vilified now. And, the fact that he's older now and he's had some health issues, I mean, he's never going to recapture his glory, but
Right,
he had his time. And, just an amazing, just an all natural talent. The guy can do almost anything.
Do you think if Chevy would have been a nicer, so like just so people know if they're watching this, there's going to be spoilers. If you get a chance to watch the documentary, watch it. There's going to be some spoilers in this thing because we're going to, kind of talk about it. So just be prepared for that. But Tony, do you think that if Chevy Chase, as talented as he was, dude, and you look at some of the early movies, like Seems Like Old Times, Foul Play, Vacation, all those, right? Fletch, which I think was his fucking best. That was the best Chevy. Like that was the best Chevy Chase type movie.
So, my kidneys feel a lot better in this position. Maybe it's just that I'm not doing any calisthenics. If I did some sit-ups in the morning or bent over like this, I'd probably feel 100% better. Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time? As a matter of fact, you using the whole fist, Doc?
Just relax.
Do you think he would have been, his career would have went longer and stronger had he been a nicer person?
No. First off, I appreciate the way you look out for your audience. Spoiler alerts, go watch the documentary first. I don't care about my audience like that, so I appreciate you. That's why everybody loves Don Sell. So, no, I don't. I think what hurt his career, well, maybe being the asshole he is, maybe more people would have been looking out for him because one of the things I learned about him in the documentary was I had no idea he had such that he had so many addiction issues.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really, that was really his down spiral. But maybe if he wasn't such an asshole, maybe more people would have tried to help him or given him, better roles after he crashed to kind of build his career back up. I don't know, but I personally think the addiction issues was more of a factor in his career.
Yeah, and one thing that I wasn't, I didn't know was that he was abused as a child. Like his mother
Right.
seeked him out and just hit him and abused him and all that kind of stuff. And to
He said
carry
that's
that,
how she woke him up every morning, by slapping him.
yeah, man, imagine that.
Crazy.
So that's how you create a fucking asshole. And you develop defense mechanisms, and
Right.
you put walls up and all that shit. And it was probably, who, I'm not a fucking psychiatrist or psycho, but I would think that maybe that's what helped him become Chevy Chase, with the one-liners and the dry wit and the all that. Was the fact that he had to live like that. Like, he woke up every fucking day, smack the shit out of you.
That's insane, man. I can't imagine what I don't know if I'd go to sleep. Yeah, or I don't know. I don't know. I wish he would set up like pots and pans where his head's supposed to be under the blanket. So when his mom hit him, she broke her hand or something. But I just can't imagine. And then to have it's the classic fairy tale story, right? He gets a stepfather who's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It's a terrible way to live, but like you said, the man's been vilified. Like I didn't find myself feeling bad for him.
Right. What's funny is when I first started watching it, and right out of the gates, he tells the girl, first he's doing I can't eat my breakfast. He's trying to be funny, but I'm like,
Right.
I already think he's in my mind, because of the show Community and all that stuff, and all the voicemails he left and all that was in my mind already. I already had an opinion on Chevy, right?
Right.
So I'm watching, and I already think he's an asshole. So he's like, "Be my breakfast." I'm like, this fucking guy is an asshole. But then I continue watching it, and
Plus,
then
plus they're trying to get some work done. There's a time and a place for all that stuff. They're just trying to get work done, and he's
right,
got to
yeah.
be annoying.
Yeah,
Knock it
exactly.
off.
And then I think exactly. Then when he tells the director that she's not bright enough to be able to dissect him and figure him out, and that she's stupid or whatever.
Yep.
So then I'm like, all right, this guy's already starting off, with this negative.
I'm just trying to figure you out.
No. It's not going to be easy for you.
Why is it not going to be easy?
You're not bright enough. How's that?
Whoa.
Well, you asked. I know you're not going to put that on the air, and I hope not. But my answer is I'm complex, and I'm deep, and I can be hurt easily, and I react spontaneously to people who want to figure me out, as it were, as somebody who will hold up my guard. I'm not going to let anybody figure me out, per se.
As it progressed, the documentary, and they start talking about his career, I started to remember why I loved Chevy in the 80s, and all of that. And, just his on camera, comedy. And then towards the end, because he says a line at the end, he says, "I'm sorry." And she goes, "For what?" He goes, "For being me." Right. And that fucking, that says it all. It's that last line he says that really made me change my whole thinking towards him, to where I'm like, this guy's not, he is an asshole, right? I mean, that's a fact. Like, if I met Chevy Chase today, he'd probably say something to insult me, like, "Oh yeah, look at you. Yeah, I see, you haven't missed a few lunches, huh?" I mean, it was something like that, right? Right. But I feel sorry for him, actually. I feel sorry for him because he's not the star now that he probably thought or he's not regarded now the way he probably thought he would have been, 30, 40 years ago. He probably thought, by the time I'm in my 80s, man, I'm going to be getting that lifetime Oscar, thing, or I'll be, celebrated in my career. Now he's just kind of like this old guy that's lame jokes. He's known as an asshole. He's this grumpy old man. And, and I think to his family, his daughter's talking about him changed my view of him too. But
That excuse me. That was actually one thing that surprised me with that. His daughters really seemed to love him.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, because he's such an asshole. I really did expect to hear that, maybe I didn't expect to hear that he would smack them around like his mother did with him, but I expected to hear something about maybe he would be distant or just downright mean to them, because he was, addicted to something, or because he's such a sarcastic asshole. I didn't expect to hear that they have a good relationship with him. And his wife too, who is still, at her age, still beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just stunning, but in my opinion, but her too. I mean, they've been married, 40 something years. They've been together for a long time and been through a lot of shit together. And that surprises me.
Yeah. Because hearing the daughters talking about him and his wife talking about him, and knowing that his family circle, then they loved him and admired him, and it felt real.
Oh yeah,
and they like I said, they were with him through the worst of times, man. Like, I didn't realize he had a depression where he couldn't get out of bed.
Right. Yeah. Oh, and that too, the whole COVID thing. I didn't know. I only heard that once the documentary came out, and then I started seeing that story. But I had no idea he was in a coma for 8 days and went through some crazy stuff during COVID.
Yeah, dude. That's why I think he came out like now, where he's a little off. He's not the same Chevy. Like, even though he's I think that's something that happened with the COVID or with that coma that kind of messed his brain up a little bit.
Yeah. 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 I mean, he's in his 80s at this point too, but yeah, you see, he's still got the wits and the comic timing, but there is something off. He doesn't even look right.
Yeah, he looks,
which is sad.
And like that one scene, dude, when I forget, she asked him something personal, and he sees like a fly, slaps it on his head, and then eats it and all that. Like, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, talking about defense mechanism. Yeah, that was when they were talking about his mother smacking him around. That's when he did that, which, again, shows the defense mechanism. And really, I mean, if that tells you, if you don't pick up on the fact that he doesn't want to talk about it anymore, I mean, it couldn't have been any more clearer than that, But yeah, it's weird because you have moments like that. You have the moment of him saying, "I'm sorry," for being me, but I don't know. But like you said in the beginning, you see what a dick he was in Community. That whole thing was just a few years ago. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't have the same feeling as you. I was just, I don't know. I don't feel bad for a lot of these guys when they go through stuff like this. Like you mentioned, maybe he's realizing he's not going to have the Lifetime Achievement Awards. They did show that whole thing where, I didn't get stage time at the SNL 50.
Right, yeah.
I don't feel bad for these guys. I'm sitting here in Governor's Comedy Club. You're around the club a lot. You're around comedy, probably even more than me, even though you're not in this club as much as I am. But this place is full of people who want to make it in comedy. So here's a guy who not only made it, but was a huge, huge star, made his millions, had beautiful women, tons of money. I mean, really, he's had controversy, but he's, you weigh it, it's a lot more good than bad. And then, and he's, he's got Oscars and awards. I don't know, to me, after all those years of all those accolades and all those wonderful things, you get guys around here in this club, they'll take just what he had in Community. They'll just take that alone and run with it and be thrilled to have it. This guy had a huge career, and then to still complain about, I don't know, stage time. I don't know.
Especially with SNL. Yeah, I agree totally. I do agree with you, because I think his thing about the SNL 50, thinking that he should have been up there because he's part of the original cast. I see that to some degree, but he's got to remember, he walked away. He left them kind of high and dry. He was their big star.
After 1 year.
Yeah, so if you're the big star and all of a sudden the big star leaves, you don't know if the rest of the show is going to fail or not. I mean, they were able, obviously, history tells the story. SNL went stronger than ever. Bill Murray
Right.
came in, replaced him, was, bigger, better. It was a better, I think it was a better version of SNL after,
I agree.
with Bill Murray. But Chevy was a huge star. He was the face of the show. Like
Right.
he was on the cover of all the magazines. They focused on him. He was the Beyonce of of SNL.
Right.
And then he leaves.
Yep.
So he left them high and dry. So, he's lucky he's even invited to the 50th in a way, in a sense.
And you're right. He definitely should have had something. In fact, they even showed it. The start of the SNL 50 special was Paul Simon singing with Sabrina Carpenter. Now, Paul Simon, he's got a huge history with SNL. He belonged up there.
Yeah.
But Sabrina Carpenter saying live from New York at Saturday night, fine. When the song's over, have Chevy walk out live from the way he used to do it.
Right.
Would have been
even
great.
with the thing on, like he did, like
right.
In
Exactly. Oh
that
yeah,
first
it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. I just don't think it's worth. It's not worth complaining about, and the time that they dedicated to it on this documentary, I would rather have seen a few minutes less of that, and then maybe stick in something they didn't talk about, which is that famous fist fight he had with Bill Murray backstage.
Yeah. They didn't even mention it.
Nothing about that. Which I mean, they've both talked about it. Like they've both been on Howard Stern.
Yeah, they talked about it. Stern show. Yeah.
Billy Joel, I've even heard him talk about because it happened.
He was
the
there.
Night,
yeah,
right. He was the musical guest. So it's there if you want to hear about it, and you can find it. But still, I just thought it. I was surprised that was left out of the documentary.
And it would have been cool too, and it also tells the tale of this guy's failed, career path in a sense. Not, again, not a failed career. How his personality ruined a lot of shit because. There wasn't a lot of people on the documentary being interviewed throughout his career,
a lot of people like Steve Martin declined it.
Yeah. So that just tells you who this guy is because like you would think if he was really, because he's been plugged into a lot of our zeitgeist of, especially of the 80s and 90s of, culture. I mean, Vacation, like Anthony Michael Hall wasn't really interviewed in this thing.
Yeah.
The wife was, what's her name?
Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, Beverly D'Angelo. She talked about it. They did have Goldie Hawn because Foul Play and then Seems Like Old Times. They had a great chemistry on in those earlier movies with Chevy, and I loved both of those movies. But there was a couple of SNL people, right? You had Morris.
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd.
That's something I took away from the documentary too. And you mentioned earlier the John Candy documentary. Dan Aykroyd, you see him in both of these documentaries, and I could be completely wrong here, but he just seems like the sweetest guy. Here he is supporting these two other legends when he's a legend in himself. Everything we're saying about Chevy with catapulting Saturday Night Live. Chevy was the face, but Dan was almost like the brains behind Chevy. He just came up with so many great things and was the perfect side guy to Chevy Chase, to John Candy, to John Belushi. Like these guys wouldn't have their careers would not be what it would be if Aykroyd wasn't standing next to them.
That's true. You need that guy, that
right.
straight man, or that different character to play off of, to bounce off of, is extremely important. Think about all the great bits that Dan Aykroyd's a part of. Man, he was crazy guys. He was he's in so many of these skits, but you don't think of him when you think of those sketches. You think of Steve Martin, wild crazy guy. You think of with the Blues Brothers, you think of both of them, but it's more.
It is more Belushi because he was the singer. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like you said. He's definitely. This, I mean, he's a comedic genius in his own right, and I love Dan Aykroyd, but yeah,
it just I just got a good feel for him from those two documentaries. Being so supportive and saying all these really nice things about. It wasn't like a stereotypical documentary where giving the same answers. Oh, he went through a tough time, and
right.
Like he really had some really nice things to say about them, and it just if anything, from those documentaries, talking about what we take away about Chevy in this, but like you said, it didn't change our opinions that he's an asshole. But looking at Aykroyd, I'm thinking, now there's a guy, who deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award, who deserves some more accolades, and deserves to be remembered more because you don't see him too much anymore. But he had a huge impact, on a lot of these movies and a lot of these TV shows. That guy's a treasure.
Yeah, I think
And
I agree
yeah.
with you. I think Dan Aykroyd, he's going to get, as they say, he'll get his flowers. He'll get his respect. He'll get his, I think, he's already regarded as a comedic genius in his own right. He's part of the original SNL. He's been Ghostbusters, and how many other great movies has he been part of? Blues Brothers and Trading Places and all that. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
Dan Aykroyd, yeah, and he is generous in the documentaries of how he talks about these guys. He elevates them up. He speaks highly of everybody,
Right.
and he's got a great understanding. But one thing I'll say with getting back to Chevy and SNL era is I love Chevy. He invented the news segment.
Yeah.
But what his best moment on Chevy Chase to be the greatest sketch ever that stands the test of time that
Oh,
will
I know where you're going.
say
Right,
it.
Richard Pryor.
Yes, that sketch where they're doing the job interview or whatever is
It
so
is great, man.
brilliant. It's so ahead of its time. It's so genius. Both guys are great in it. Richard Pryor's reaction when he first says one of the lines, and Richard Pryor's like, his face in it.
Negro?
Whitey.
Tar baby.
What'd you say?
It's almost a perfect sketch of
Yeah.
two comedic giants of that era of the 70s. It's such a perfect skit and sketch that I just you can never deny that one. It's just so great.
I was actually, it got me. Now, of course, seen the skit a million times, but watching the documentary, seeing the clips they showed of it, a thought came to me that I never thought about before was why weren't these two guys ever in a movie together?
Well, they didn't like each other, dude.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, did you ever see that there's a famous Johnny Carson interview? So Johnny Carson had both of them on the couch.
Okay, I vaguely remember that.
And Chevy keeps interrupting Richard's interview because Chevy was out first, and he's sitting next to. And now it's Richard's time to shine, and Chevy
Right.
keeps interrupting him and all this stuff, and then saying how much his special is better than Richard's special and all this stuff. So, Johnny's trying to get control back of the panel. So then Chevy goes, "No, seriously, it's a great. I love Richard. It's a great thing. It's not as good as mine, but it's good, And then he goes, "Richard, what do you have to say?" He goes, "I don't really like Chevy."
I have seen Richard's special.
No, you may not say that.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Let's go.
In fact, though, that I have seen it, and it's hilarious. It's not quite as funny as mine, but it's really, really very funny. No, it's very funny. It's very funny.
Have you seen Chevy's special?
I don't like Chevy.
Okay, we're going to come right back and take another look at the slides here right after this commercial break. So stay with us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But from what I understand, Richard Pryor hated him. So yeah, and because one thing about Chevy, man, is for that time period, he even if you watch his old interviews with the cast of Saturday Night Live, he always took over. He was like an alpha, like a super alpha amongst these legends, which is like crazy.
Well, they showed that one interview with the Caddyshack cast that he walked out of.
Yeah.
And you can even see Ted Knight, another guy who just a comedic genius. But
Legend.
you even see him kind of looking around, like, is this real? Like he's just. I love the expression on his face. Like, what is going on here? Yeah, it's crazy. The egos. It's crazy. It's always crazy to me how quickly an ego and how far an ego can go because again, that's what ruined his career, man.
It's an ego. It's like narcissism when it's only about him. It's all about him, and all that stuff. And he wore it on Yes, it's all about me. Like he would tell you straight up back in those days. Yeah, it's definitely all about me. He's like, the only thing bad about SNL is that I'm not in it more. Stuff like
Right.
that. Like he was
Right.
just such an asshole. And then he would give his co-host, in the show, his supporting the cast members, his castmates, notes.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That would piss me off. I'll tell you that.
Dude.
Yeah, I love that. Somebody went running to Lauren Michaels. He's giving me notes on how to do my accents or whatever it was.
It was crazy, man.
I would love it if, I mean, it's not the case, but it would have been great if it turned out to be he's just messing with people, but it really wasn't the case.
No, man. He's like just this jerky guy that just wants to take everybody down and
Yeah.
and it doesn't stop.
Right.
You hear like
Ever.
yeah, like there's other guys that could be assholes too. Like Mark Maron has a reputation like that, right?
Right.
But when Mark Maron, well, so he's becoming, again, Mark Maron is becoming an asshole again. But when he was successful with WTF and that podcast was really at its peak,
Right.
he was all of a sudden people noticed a change in him. He was positive, he was happy, he was nice to people, he was helping out and all that stuff. He was good. But then once, his through the years, then other podcasts emerged and then his started to go down and he became bitter again. But at least he has an arc where with Chevy it's just always asshole mode.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you mentioned Carson, so that was another thing that I thought of talking about. Carson was the the late night talk show that Chevy attempted.
Oh God.
26 episodes, that's it. So that's, you're talking maybe a month, maybe five, a month or two, a month, 4 or 5 weeks of shows. That's how bad it was. And I remember watching it and I do remember thinking, wow, this is bad.
I do remember watching it too.
Yeah.
And I remember even thinking that it was old school hokey, like he's trying to be Johnny Carson.
Yes. Yeah. And it kind of, forgive me if I kind of go off topic a little bit, but I remember thinking the same thing. Why are they trying to make Chevy Chase Johnny Carson? And then even, other guys who they've, tried to do talk shows with, like Pat Sajak when he had his late show. Same thing. They tried to make it, we got to follow the Carson. And hey, I'm a huge Carson guy. I still go on YouTube and watch those old clips. But you have a guy like Chevy Chase who has such natural wit, natural comfortability up on a stage, amazing, quickness with his responses and what he says. Why are you trying to change that? I love the idea of him having a talk show because he is so talented. He can act. He's an amazing musician who plays many instruments.
Yeah.
You could have, you could take a guy like that and have a lot of interesting conversations if you brought out, another musician or, other actors, and they could really, people that he can identify with and have stuff in common with, and they could really have some really cool conversations. But instead, it just seemed like they were trying so hard to make him so Carson-like that it seemed to throw him. He never seemed comfortable. He never seemed organized, and I'm sure that's part of it too, because they say that in the special. You have to learn about your guests. You have to do the research. You have to know, and I'm sure he didn't do any of that.
No,
but that's why I say, because he was already, Chevy Chase. Bring out people that he already knows.
No,
and that way
they try to do that. Like they brought out Goldie Hawn, they brought out Beverly D'Angelo. But I think that, and I see what you're saying, and I agree for any other person. But I think with Chevy Chase, the problem is to be an interviewer, as you know, and you're a great interviewer in your own right.
Right back at you, pal.
Thanks, man. But to be an interviewer, you can't be that narcissistic. You can't be all
true.
about you. It can't be me, because then you try to steer the conversation always into you like Chevy Chase would just be like, yeah, well, that's great, but I was on, I was Fletch, and
Right.
and or he'll diminish his guest or something like that. If the get like let's say he had Brad Pitt on there or George Clooney or some shit, he would probably try to take them down a notch and make it. You know what I mean? I just
Well,
don't.
yeah.
I think to be an interviewer, you really have to, even if you have an ego, you have to set it aside in the interview, because the subject has to be the most important thing that topic that you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's not,
you're absolutely right.
because it's about learning about your subject, not about telling about yourself.
And it is. I think that's probably why we love the guy so much, because he was so quick and he could be so funny, even though he was being a dick most of the time. Because everything you're saying right now takes me back to another, I don't remember what year it was, another SNL anniversary special where him and Norm Macdonald were both at the Weekend Update desk.
Yeah.
And they were just taking, you really got the feeling like, oh, these are two guys that don't like each other, because they were ripping into each other. Really kind of, like they were really giving it to each other. I'm going to have to look that up, see if I can find it. But
Yeah, I want
remember
to find that too. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely remember it. Yeah,
Yeah.
vaguely remember it. I got to watch that.
I do remember laughing my ass off at it as these two guys were taking shots at each other.
If I find it, it's going to be running right now.
First, I am a gifted but self-taught composer.
Why don't you just wipe your mouth a little? Making me fucking sick.
Chevy,
That was great.
Did you hear what Norm said to Chevy?
But did you see? Oh shit. Yeah. Did you see the Chevy Chase roast? So Comedy Central had a roast. Comedy Central will never run it again. It completely bombed and failed. But you could find clips of it, or you could find a lot of it online. But what's interesting, it was early Comedy Central roasting. It was one of the first ones they did, and it was like Mark Maron's on there, Todd Barry, like all these guys that aren't really known for roasting were on there.
Right.
But Greg Giraldo was on there. He freaking killed him. There was a couple of good Lisa Lampanelli's on there and stuff like that. But you got to watch that, man. People just tearing this dude apart. And he had, and another telling thing on that roast is he had none of his real friends were on there. It was just all these hired guns.
Yep. Yeah, it really does say a lot about the guy.
But getting back to the talk show, I think it made him realize that it's not that as easy as he thought it would be. Oh yeah, just go up there. When they showed him stumbling over the punchlines and jokes, trying to read the cue cards and stuff.
Yeah,
that was. It was good to see, in a way, a guy at the peak of his career, still stumbling and that you can't do everything.
Right.
It was kind of humbling, in a way.
And that's exactly what we've been saying. You would think things like that would kind of ground him a little bit, but it never did. This guy truly just does not care. And I don't know. I honestly don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, he just never seemed to care about any of it. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to do what I want. And if you like it, great. If not, okay, well, I'll just move on to the next thing. Like he really, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I feel like he might be like a sociopath kind of guy too, where he doesn't have emotions.
Right.
You know what I mean? It feels like he's emotionless. I mean, I guess he does have, like when you look at again, going back to the family, but he feels like a guy who doesn't give a fuck if he hurts your feelings.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or like with the Terry Sweeney thing.
Yes.
About the AIDS joke and all that. Weigh yourself every day.
Well,
like that.
That's something he showed some emotion on. I mean, he looked genuinely pissed.
Well, he looked mad that he was called out on it. That they called him out on it.
Well, yeah, but then too with Sweeney too, because he was, he said it several times. He's lying. He's lying, and his voice was raised a little bit. So yeah, he was. So yeah, so there was some feelings there. And then they said Terry Sweeney refused. And same thing. If you go online, you can find other interviews where Terry Sweeney has talked about it. But I do wish he did the interview for this documentary. I would have loved to have seen maybe responses to each other or something. But
they should have brought Terry Sweeney and Chevy. Here we have Terry's right here. Hi, Chevy, you fuckbag.
You brute.
Listen, I did have AIDS, you motherfucker.
I'm glad your career sucks, Chevy, because you didn't suck me.
First thing out of your mouth was wondering if I was gay. Why is that, you fucking bastard? Yeah.
You're stupid.
That was probably the season that, and no, this is no diss on Terry Sweeney. I actually thought he was funny on it, but he was that was the worst cast ever of Saturday Night Live, and it
Sure
had some of the
was.
biggest stars on it.
Right.
It had, Robert Downey Jr. It had Anthony Michael Hall. It had Jim Belushi. It had I think Billy Crystal was still around on that one. Maybe I gotta check the cast.
I don't think Billy Crystal was still around at that point. But John Lovitz was a part of that cast.
Yeah, and who else?
Julia Louise Dreyfus was with Billy Crystal's cast. But Terry Sweeney's, like you said, it was their worst cast ever. But Sweeney's, and they showed it. His Nancy Reagan was. I thought I loved it.
He did a great Nancy Reagan. He did better than the Nancy Reagan. Remember when who else did Nancy Reagan? No, he nailed it.
Yeah.
And I would love to get to Terry Sweeney if he's watching this. Come on my show. No, I'm sorry.
He'll jump right on it after that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I did it that way, because I know that if he watched the earlier portion, we're just making fun of him. But let me see. What year was that? SNL cast.
Wow. 84, 85. Yeah, 85, 86 maybe, right?
Terry Sweeney. Yep, 85, 86. Let's see here. 85, 86 SNL. Hold on a second. I'm trying to find that. I want to see who was on this cast, because it was the worst cast ever.
Yes.
It's not just our opinion. It's
right.
Historically.
And the cast before them they didn't get enough time to really hone it, because that was a good cast. Like we said, Billy Crystal, Belushi.
Yeah.
Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Christopher Guest, I believe, was a part of that cast.
So this was the 11th season of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It marked Lorne Michaels' return as the SNL showrunner, because he was gone. I think he was gone the season before that, or something.
He was gone for a few years.
Dude, this one had Randy Quaid.
That's right.
Anthony Michael Hall, Robert Downey Jr., and Joan Cusack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember Joan Cusack, because I remember they had and I could have sworn Jim. I could be. I'm mistaken.
Belushi wasn't a holdover. He was gone.
I don't. Well, A. Whitney Brown was on it. Dennis Miller, John Lovitz, Nora Dunn. Oh no, that was the following the season. Oh, these are the ones that carried over from the season before.
I was going to say because I remember Lovitz was there with Anthony Michael Hall and all them.
And Dennis Miller was still there, and then A. Whitney Brown.
Right.
And then yeah. So that was and then also Chicago-based performance artist Detrina Vance was added along with Damon Wayans. And then it says, and then also Terry Sweeney, comedic performer who made himself famous for playing Nancy Reagan in off-Broadway reviews, was added. And then they brought back Guido Sarducci in that season. And Al Franken also, I guess, tried to save it, and Chris Elliott.
Wow.
And there's even the controversy in this. This is all on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
When Chevy Chase hosted the show, there were reports of tension amongst the cast and crew. According to the book Live from New York, The Uncensored History of Saturday Night Live, Chase pitched an idea for a sketch featuring openly gay cast member Sweeney as a person with AIDS who is weighed by a doctor to see how much weight he lost. It's just so fucking... It's just so fucking dark.
It was interesting in the documentary. This was my impression, and I could be. I mean, I am an idiot, so it's. But when they were talking about that, and they read what you just read, they read that to Chevy. I got the impression that he didn't remember it, and then when they read it to him, because he did, he put his head down and he just started cracking up. So it was almost like he didn't remember it, but then hearing about it, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's funny."
Like. That's oh my god,
it is so dark, but I can't help but laugh.
I'm laughing because it's just so messed up. Like the
Right.
premise is so
Yeah,
messed up that you
but
gotta
meanwhile,
laugh
this
at it.
this day and age, I bet you go on YouTube or TikTok. I bet you there is somebody doing that.
Yeah, but they're probably doing it like a real version of it. Like,
Well, yeah,
it's
right.
day 5 since I've had AIDS, and let's wait. Fucked up,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, so like his whole SNL thing. Every time he's gone back, everyone hates him. They say he's like the worst guest. Like when they have their weekly guest or whatever. Special guest host.
Right.
And,
Right.
just Chevy. And he's an asshole. Like we're laughing at what the asshole thing he said about Terry Sweeney, but a lot of his stuff, he's an asshole where it's not funny. You know
Right.
what I mean? It falls
Yeah.
flat where you're like, why would you say like when he met Robert Downey Jr. and he said about his dad? Oh yeah, your dad used to be a great director until he got drug problems. Yeah, it's like what the fuck, dude?
It is. It's very odd. Like why? Why would you do that? Yeah, it's so strange. But it is. It's sad to me because he's so talented. Yeah, and I don't know. Would he be that talented if he didn't? Being that he didn't care, was that why he was so talented? I don't. I don't know. It's so strange. But
Yeah, it's weird because you don't know if had
yeah,
he cared, he might never have become Chevy Chase. If
right,
he,
exactly.
but it's just so and so like in hockey or whatever, we would call it you lose the room. So like let's say you have a great player or something like that, but he's an asshole. And so everybody used to follow him and pay attention when he spoke and stuff. But then there comes a time when you lose the room where they don't want to hear you anymore, where they don't pay
Right.
attention to you, they don't respect you anymore. Chevy lost the room,
Yeah.
and not just amongst his peers, but amongst the public. And I think that that show Community, that was regarded as his resurgence of his career, ultimately, I think, cost him his legacy because it was that show that brought to light all his asshole stuff, and you had guys, some of these hotter stars, future stars coming up that
Right.
are reaching a new generation, saying this guy's an asshole, this guy's a
Right.
racist, this guy's this guy's that. So I think he couldn't keep up anymore
Right.
with these young guys. I think they outshined him.
Right. Here's like you said, it's a cast of younger guys that didn't grow up with them in their lives, and instead of and you could just see it. I mean, he did not gel with these guys. Like you said, it could have been. It was on the verge of becoming a resurgence for him, but he just wasn't gelling with because he wanted to be it.
Yeah.
He
Yep.
couldn't just blend in and be another actor, a supportive role, and he just couldn't do it. And yeah, all these young guys, like you said, future stars too. Glover, I forget
Donald Glover, yeah.
Um,
And then
yeah.
Joel McHale.
Right.
I mean, two big stars in their own right, these guys,
Right.
and touching on a new generation that may never even heard of Chevy Chase. And he's just this
Right.
old guy in the show. And then all of a sudden, he drops the ball, man.
And the way he dropped the ball, I mean, hitting the one cast member, the lady, I forget her name, but hitting her with racial slurs. The thing with Richard Pryor was a skit, and
Right.
it was part of the time and part of the show. That show was so groundbreaking in the beginning, where now this wasn't part of a skit. This was just him being a dick. And not that it ever flew, but this day and age, especially, you can't say stuff like that.
No, but I think in the context of how he said it, like he didn't just say you're this. He basically was mad about the way his character was being written because they kept writing him more and more racist and this and that with the puppets and all that shit. That he said, "What's next? You're going to make me call her?" And then he said it. So it was the context wasn't to me was okay, but it's the fact that he said it, and then the fact that they leaked it, and the fact that it started getting headlines.
But wasn't there more to it? Didn't he actually turn to her and say something derogatory directly to her, which is why she walked out of the room? Am I getting that wrong?
I think she. I'm not. I would have to go back and check it because you could be right. I thought she was offended because he was doing the puppets and some of that stuff, like. But
So I could have sworn after she stormed off, he stormed off as well. But then he was the first one to come back, and they were asking him, what did he say to her? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But so I for some reason, I thought there was, like an actual one-to-one thing. But, I do have to say, the puppets were so wrong, but I did find it very funny.
Yeah, I think I think when I remember when it first came out. By this point, this was like 2009, but by this point, I already had an opinion on Chevy. I already didn't like him because I didn't like how the Howard Stern thing when Howard Stern called him up and he got on the phone,
Right.
and Chevy's his reputation was already becoming like he was an asshole. Already heard the stories about the Invisible Man movie and stuff like that.
Right.
So I already kind of had an opinion on him. So then when Community first came out, I was still working with the Carolina Hurricanes in North Carolina, and I remember me and the guys there were all kind of like, I think this is great, man. Chevy's freaking awesome, man. I think like he found a perfect character for him to play, and he doesn't need to be the star. Like I remember having that conversation, and I just think it was the best and worst thing that happened to him at that time. I think ultimately the worst thing that happened for his legacy.
Right. Wow. And did you say 2009? It was that long ago?
Yeah, I believe that's when it premiered. Let me check on that. When did Community?
I didn't realize it's been that long already.
Yeah, man.
Time flies, man.
Dude. Community premiere. Yeah, September 17th, 2009. The show originally aired on NBC and continued until May 2010. Then it must have came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it ended. Yeah, 2009, 2015. It ended 2015. So it ended like freaking 10, 11 years ago. Crazy.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
No
and
idea.
and then when the cast and crew, that's one time I felt sorry for and it's all every time I felt a little empathy towards Chevy, it was through the eyes of his kids.
Right.
Like
Yes.
like when his daughter was talking about they went to the premiere Community and then the director gets up there, has everyone chant, "Fuck you, Chevy."
I mean, who goes around, getting people to chant "fuck something" and then put it on video and put it out? I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, not the smartest move.
But yeah, no, that was I remember thinking that too. That I had empathy for him at that point too. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, that was terrible because he, here he is, guys, look, I'm coming back, and it probably was a big deal to him,
Yeah.
and it probably was this whole thing. He was kind of proud of it in a way, and this and that, and then all of a sudden it all backfired big time to his legacy. Like I said, people still talk about it. That's what he's remembered as. He's remembered as this old guy who is an asshole, dropping N-bombs and insulting the cast and crew of every single, cast he's ever worked with, every ensemble. It's just, to me, I hope that because you would think every single celebrity is a narcissist to some degree, right? You have to be.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I would hope that they watch this and documentary is this example, almost like a mirror, and they go, "All right, is this what I look like? Because I don't want to be this."
Yeah. I felt that with the Charlie Sheen documentary. Like I would not want to sit. I would not want to sit there with those stories and sit there and talk about it like it was the best of times, man. There was some embarrassing, crazy, horrible shit going on there.
Yeah, dude.
So you mentioned before. So you think Caddyshack is his best movie?
I think Fletch is his best.
Fletch. Sorry, you did say that.
I think Fletch is the best version of Chevy Chase being Chevy Chase. Like that's the best Chevy character. You know what I mean? If Chevy Chase is going to be embodied into any of his characters, I think Fletch is the best one. And like Ryan Reynolds had said that, and you could see that.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds stole that whole Fletch character basically and made it his own personality.
Right. I find it a shame all the darkness around the Invisible Man movie because I really enjoyed that movie, and for me it's either Fletcher or Caddyshack, but from an acting perspective, like you said, Chevy Chase, he's almost like Samuel L. Like they play the same character in every movie, but I'm not knocking it. It works.
Right.
It works every time. But the Invisible Man movie was the closest thing to real acting I ever saw Chevy Chase do. Now I haven't seen every single one of his movies, so I don't know. But for me, that movie was the closest I've ever seen him do some real acting. That was one movie where you didn't get the usual Chevy Chase in every single scene.
Right. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that movie. So I was actually sad to hear all the darkness around it in the documentary.
I think his if I'm going to judge his acting, I think his earlier stuff, like
Foul Play.
Yeah, or Seems Like Old Times, it had a little bit of everything. Had a little bit of that sarcastic, Chevy moments. It was a great movie. It had Goldie Hawn and Charles Grodin. Yeah, is that his name? Charles Grodin.
Yeah, Charles Grodin. Yeah,
yeah, he was really good in that too.
Dudley Moore.
Yeah, it was just such a great movie, man. Seems Like Old Times, but I'm trying to get.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about Foul Play with right. Dudley Moore was in Foul Play.
He might have been. I'll find that out in a sec. Let's see.
Am I thinking of the right movie?
Foul Play had in it. I happen to have the IMDb up. Burgess Meredith was in it. Oh, Dudley Moore was in Foul Play. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He was the little pervert guy.
Yeah. Brian Dennehy.
Right. Long Island's own Brian Dennehy.
Long Island's own. God bless him. May he rest in peace. But yeah. So, but let's see here. So, Chevy Chase was in a lot of the great movies.
I looked at this morning. I looked up his filmography. There were a lot of movies I never heard of, especially in the 2000s.
Yeah, he probably just taking anything now to get paid. You know,
just getting a paycheck. Yep.
How come these aren't in like order? Because he was in some great movies, and I just want to obviously he was part of the Lemmings, which is cool. That's
right.
like a comedy sketch troupe,
right?
And then he was Foul Play, Oh Heavenly Dog. That came out in 1980. That came out before Caddyshack. Oh Heavenly Dog.
I forgot all about that one.
Yeah, I might have to watch a version of that again. Oh shit, I lost. Fucking was. He was in Vacation, which obviously Vacation I think put him on. Well, he was already on the map. Let's see here. Sorry about that. Oh, Heavenly Dog. Caddyshack came out after that, 1980. Then Seems Like Old Times was 1980. Under the Rainbow. So Foul Play was 1978.
Right.
Under the Rainbow was 81. Then Modern Problems was 81. Then Vacation, he came out strong with 1983.
That was huge.
And then Fletch in 1985.
Right.
Then Spies Like Us in 85.
I like that one too. I got to watch. I don't think I've seen it since it was in the theaters, but I remember liking it. But I don't remember a lot of it.
I saw it in the theater too when I was back then, and I just remember two of them in a plane, like him and Dan Aykroyd, or Spies Like Us. Right?
Yeah. Well, and Aykroyd's wife, Donna Dixon.
Oh yeah.
Wow, she was gorgeous. I just remember her. I remember her blowing me away because she was so hot in that movie. I don't even know if they're still married. I wonder.
Yeah, I'll check that out too. But Three Amigos in 86.
Right. Yep.
And then one of the things I love most about him, they showed a little bit of it in the credits, was the Call Me Al video. You can call me Al. I think that was Chevy Chase's one of his best things.
Video.
Yeah.
I've always loved that video. It came on, and as soon as you heard the music, Lisa turned to me and she goes, "Was Chevy Chase in this video?" Sure enough, then they come walking in, and we're watching it, and I'm laughing my ass off because I hadn't seen the video in years. But then she goes, "I'm not sure I've ever seen this whole video." So as soon as the credits were done, I went right to YouTube and we watched the video to that song. It is so funny.
It's
Chevy,
great.
the way he's lip syncing and his facial expressions, and then the way the two of them are dancing towards the end, and they're screwing up, and Paul Simon's facial expressions because he almost gets hit with the trumpet. It's so funny. It's really hysterical.
It was great, man. It was great.
Yeah.
I love that video. I'll see if I can show a clip of it if YouTube don't take me down. Then he was in Funny Farm, Caddyshack 2. This is kind of when he started going downhill because all the sequels weren't great.
Right.
Fletch 2.
Right. And that was
Here's
the other thing with the Invisible Man, because they were kind of touting it as, like a return, like it was going to be like a sort of a comeback, and it really didn't work out that way.
Yeah, because like he was difficult to work with. I think that takes away some of the mojo and the magic secret sauce in the movie. Is if everyone's negative and it's just bad vibes, it's going to
Yeah.
come through one way or another. It comes through.
Dude, I have to say too, they were showing him, like playing chess with his buddy in like a local restaurant where he lives and stuff, and people are going up to him for autographs. It did make me think like, oh, Don and I should go up there with a camera and just hang out up there for a weekend, and until we find him, and see if we can get like 15 minutes to talk to him. It did seem like he just regularly just kind of goes about his business around town. So I did think about that. I don't know where Bedford, New York is, but
I think it's right outside. I think it's Westchester County.
oh, so that's not too far from us at all.
Yeah, and then we could get him $500 bouquet of flowers, whatever.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But dude, I have
Yeah.
one controversial opinion of mine with Chevy Chase movies is I might be the only one that I know. I don't like Christmas Vacation. I think it's I don't like it at all. I think it's a negative Christmas movie. I saw the movie, when it first came out. I get it. I liked it. I saw the jokes and all that stuff, but I don't think that this great Christmas movie I got to watch every year. It was like I just didn't like it.
I'm almost there with you. I never thought it was as good as people make it out to be.
Yeah,
And the same with European Vacation. I thought it was okay. I didn't think
right.
it was great. The first one is, hilarious. I love the first one.
First
but
one's legend,
yeah,
classic.
and then I don't think I think I stopped watching after whichever one was last, European or Christmas. I don't even remember, but
Yeah, I think
whichever one is the last one, I stopped after that because there are more.
Yeah. He keeps trying to pound that drum. Like I bet you anything they're trying to get him to do another one. Like now he's grandpa or some
Right.
shit.
Well, they did remake. He wasn't in it though when they remade it a few years ago.
Oh,
What's his name?
Ed something.
Ed Helms.
Ed
Right.
Helms. Yeah.
Yeah, and that did nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to. I mean, once in a while you'll see him and Beverly. They'll make an appearance, like a cameo in a movie or a TV show or something.
Yeah, and that's always cool
yeah.
for nostalgia's sake to see them together.
Yeah, but you can't. It's gone. You can't go back now.
Yeah. Unless he was able to play second banana and be. Remember in the first one, what was her name? The grandmother who died in it. Like she ended up dying in the movie. What's her name?
Right. Yeah.
She was a legendary actress. She was with Sid Caesar and all that. Emma Jean Coca? Emma Jean
Right.
Coca.
Yes.
So he could play like the Emma Jean Coca and kind of bring it full circle. And he's this grumpy old guy in the back, with some one-liners, and then
Yep. Yeah. Like Burgess Meredith and Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then have him die too in the movie, and have
Right.
something crazy happen.
The ego won't allow it, man. It's sad.
Yeah, it's fucking sad, man. Yeah, then by the 2000s, he was in Snow Day, The Karate Dog. These are some of his movies from the 2000s.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I didn't recognize any of these titles.
Our Italian Husband, Bad Meat, Ellie Parker, Goose on the Loose, Dougal, Funny Money, Zoom, The Secret Policeman's Ball, The Ball in the Hall. Then I guess he was on an episode of Law and Order. He was on
Right.
Cutlass, Brothers and Sisters. He was in Stay Cool. He was in an episode of Chuck. I'm just gonna skip around here. Presidential Reunion, Hot Tub Time. He was in Hot Tub Time Machine.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, really? I don't remember that.
Then finally, the Community stuff, and then after that, they got him. He was in a short movie called Chevy Chase is Booked in 2013. Then he was in Lovesick, Hot in Cleveland, Shelby, Wishing and Hoping, Hot Tub Time Machine 2. Then there's Hedgehogs, Christmas in Vermont. There's just a lot of weird shit. Zombie Town. And then Twinkly Christmas and the Christmas Letter was his last. The movies he made in 2004 were Medium Olive Ad, Twinkly Christmas, and the Christmas Letter. So Chevy's still, I guess, working, or he worked until
Yeah.
2004. But we'll see what happens. I mean, what's your final take on this? Do you think that this documentary was good closure for Chevy Chase or bad closure for Chevy Chase? What do you think the public is going to take away from this as his full legacy?
As a documentary, I thought it was good. I thought it was well done. So it is a nice. I think you said it when we first started. It's a nice wrap up. It's a nice package of Chevy Chase's life and career. So I do think, I think it's, if it is a send off, if God forbid the poor man should die or something today, I do think this is a good send off because it's real. That's one of the things I do like about it. It's real and it's honest, which I like about in documentaries. So there are a lot of documentaries that aren't. It's actually, we're recording this, in the morning as I'm going to do my show in an hour. One of the things I'm talking about, or at least that I have in my notes, that this month is 10 years since David Bowie and Glenn Frey passed away. And I'm thinking about documentaries, the Eagles documentary. I thought Glenn Frey came across like the biggest asshole.
Yeah.
But it was honest. And that's what I really liked about it. So same thing here. So I do think it's a nice way to kind of sum it all up.
I think
I answered your question, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I think like an idiot.
No, I think, like I said, you hit the nail on the head. It was honest, and it showed Chevy Chase, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It showed that he, was regarded as one of the great comedic actors of a generation, but also a huge asshole who got in his own way. But it also showed you kind of dissected how and why he's an asshole. Is it because of his drug abuse? Is it because of his mother beating him when he was a kid? Is it because of his depression bouts and all the shit, and he's just got walls up? But I think the most telling part, which to me, it's just that one line that makes me forgive him. Like, not that I matter, but it makes me, as a fan of Chevy Chase, forgive him. Was when he apologized for being me. I'm sorry. Why? For being me. That I always love complex simplicity, I call it. When something is so deep but so simple. I'm sorry for being me. It just says so much when you look back at his whole life and career. And, that makes me love the guy,
Right. Okay.
So,
yeah, I see that.
So God bless him, man. I hope he lives, a few more years. I hope he gets redemption. I hope this documentary helps redeem him. Like I said, I started watching it thinking he was going to be a huge asshole. I was looking for the negative of it all, and by the end, so I think it was a good thing ultimately. And to your point, because it was honest.
So, all right. So moving forward, so like you said right at the top, that there's a lot of comedian documentaries that have been coming out. What, or who would you like to see a documentary about in the comedy world that we haven't seen yet?
I would like to see a really good, and I don't even know how entertaining it would be, to be honest with you, but, and I might get his daughter on my show. I've been talking to her back and forth, which she actually made me write out all the questions and shit, like what, and already going through it all. But it's Kitty Bruce, who's now turned 70 this year. But,
wow.
But her dad, Lenny Bruce, I would love to see a really good doc on Lenny Bruce. There was a really good one on George Carlin a couple of years ago. There was a really great one on Gary Shandling a couple of years ago. But I would love to see Lenny Bruce really dissected and talked to, or maybe not even just Lenny Bruce, but something really strong about that era of the changing of the guard.
Yeah.
From the 50s, mid to late 50s into the 60s of this whole new counterculture generation. I would love to see more on that, but if I'm thinking modern day, I honestly, dude, I wouldn't mind seeing a very raw, honest, documentary on Louis C.K.
Oh, okay.
I think Louis C.K., dude. If you watch, like, obviously Comic Sans, right? I didn't even realize at the time how inspired I was by Louis C.K.'s show Louis, until I kind of one day I was watching Louis episode like recently, like last couple of years, and I'm like, this is similar to Comic Sans. I'm like, oh, well, hold on a second, Comic Sans is similar to this. I'm like,
Yeah,
so,
right.
so like, you know what I mean? I love Louis C.K.'s as a filmmaker, and as a comedian. I think the guy's a fucking genius, and I
Yeah,
think he's
I agree.
brilliant, and I think
Yep.
he's gotten a really, like, every genius has a flaw. You go back to Shakespeare, you go back to Beethoven, or they all
Ben
have.
Franklin.
Yeah, Ben Franklin, yes, near and dear to your heart. But yeah, they all have flaws, dude. They're
Yeah,
all fucked up, and
absolutely.
it's always with women.
Yeah. Yep.
It's always sexual. Isn't that weird? There's got to be some connection to that. But so yeah, this guy had this one fucked up moment that you know um, messed him up in the in the Hollywood world, but he managed to break that bubble through his own shit. Like, he's got special. He won a Grammy for his own record that he put out on himself. For his own comedy specials that he puts out himself. He's self. He said, all right, you know what? I'm blacklisted. I'm just doing shit myself, and he's still killing it.
Right.
So I would love to see a documentary on Louis C.K., like a real fucking honest one,
Right.
where they even show the women who, because there's one, I forget her name. She's a comedian. She's a real activist against him, man. Like, every time he starts to bubble up again, she'll come out bang and try to knock him back down. What's her name? Because she was one of the victims, I guess. If you want to, victim.
Right.
I don't even want to do air quotes with that, because to these women, they were victims, because what he did,
Yeah. No, they were. They definitely were.
yeah. So she doesn't want him. She doesn't think he deserves redemption. Um, but in any case, I would even, if I was doing documentary, I would definitely want her in it. I would want it to be completely honest and raw, and show all sides, not just this glorification of Louis C.K., but show some of his enemies too, some of the victims, some of the people that might feel a different way.
Sure.
But yeah. How about, so that's who I would, those two documentaries, Lenny Bruce and Louis C.K. Who would you want to do on?
My answer, I think, is a little weird, but I'd like to see a documentary on Michael McKean.
Yeah.
He's a Long Islander. He grew up in Glen Cove. But
I never knew that. Really?
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Yeah, grew up in Glen Cove.
Oh shit.
He's just had such a varied career, mostly in the comedy world, but not always, but mostly. But yeah, so I'm just curious how a guy can play something like Lenny and Squiggy, and then I don't know if did you watch Better Call Saul? Did you watch that show?
I saw some of it, and I did see him in it. Yeah, yeah. I never got into that series though.
All right. So I'll try to give you a basic without giving too much away. But he played Saul's brother, Bob Odenkirk's brother, and they have a major falling out. They end up in court against each other. And basically, Michael McKean basically has a nervous breakdown while on the stand. And it is some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But that's what I mean. How do you go from playing something as ridiculous as Lenny, but then doing this heavy dramatic scene where you have a nervous breakdown on this other show? And he's done it all, everything in between. And he's been in some classic stuff, like Spinal Tap. He was in Memoirs of an Invisible Man. He was Chevy Chase's best friend in that. Where Chevy runs away and goes to his friend's vacation house to hide out. That was Michael McKean. He just seems to pop up in strange places, but always nails it. But mostly in the comedy world. So I mean the music world too, but mostly comedy, playing Lenny and Spinal Tap. And,
he's in
Clue,
a lot of those
Clue
and those mockumentaries. He's in a lot of those, like with
right.
Who's the other guy in Spinal Tap? The one who makes a lot of his own documentaries.
Christopher.
Christopher Guest.
Christopher
Yeah.
Guest. Yeah,
He's in a
Well,
lot of Christopher Guest movies. Yeah.
right. Yeah, Mighty Wind and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
those. Yeah, those movies are great, man.
That's a great ensemble of like sketch comics.
Right.
Kind of like that wing it. You know what I mean? They're improving a lot of that shit.
Right.
And
Right.
he's
Catherine
a great.
O'Hara. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So he's had a career that not many people have had, and he's usually not one of the first names to come up when you think about certain things. So that's another reason, because to me he's like an underdog who deserves some more attention, deserves some accolades. So I'd like to, I'd like to see something about him.
That'd be awesome. Another one on that same kind of note would be Martin Mull. Would be cool to give him his flowers and do a doc on him too, because he's another one.
Him and his buddy Fred Willard.
Yeah, dude.
They both kind of passed without any, like, for lack of a better word, there was really no fanfare. There was no it wasn't big news when those two passed away, and I don't know. I thought it should have been bigger news, but
I agree, man. Well,
Yeah.
you know what's the great thing about us, Tony? Is we're both producers and filmmakers.
All right, so we should do these documentaries.
I think we should make them. We start with well, you reach out to Michael McKean's people. I'll reach out to Louis C.K.'s people. We'll start getting the ball rolling. I already got Kitty Bruce. I'm probably going to be getting her on the show. I got to reach out to her this probably next week. I'll reach out to her, see if we can set something up. And then we'll get the ball rolling on these documentaries.
Well, and we got we're friends with Sheba Mason.
Yeah.
I've had Jen Chapin on my show. We should do like kids of famous people, and
we'll get Carlin. What's her name?
George Jr. I have no idea.
Kelly Carlin. Kelly Carlin.
Kelly Carlin. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and you, in all seriousness, you had an idea for a documentary. I don't know if it's something that we're gonna that I should say on the show, but I thought it was a great idea, and we loosely started putting some feelers out a year or two ago about it.
I definitely want to do that. Yeah. That'd be great.
I think it's a great idea. I would love to do that at some point. I mean, because we're not busy, but I would love to do it at some point.
If we're gonna do a documentary for real, what we got to do is me and you sit down, figure out which one we want to do, because I think we have a lot of great ideas, and then really push for funding. And then if we get funding where we could just put our life on hold for a minute and focus on the documentary.
That's the thing. We'd have to dive in 100%.
Yeah, we'd have to really make it a full-on thing. So, but yeah, man, this is good stuff, dude.
And don't forget too the Terry Sweeney documentary. We should put that together.
I'm working on that right now. I weigh 90 pounds. Oh, shit.
That's great.
All right, brother, man. Well, this has been awesome. Tony Walker Fresh. Everybody, check him out. He's on every day, weekdays on the Govs Podcast, YouTube site. Everything's going to be in the description, all the links and everything. Follow him on YouTube, Facebook. Anything else you want to promote, Tony Walker Fresh?
No, you covered it, man. Just, check out the Knock 'em Dead Comedy Show every weekday at 11 a.m.
Awesome, brother. You rock, man. I'm going to go watch some old Chevy Chase movies now and see what we're going to do.
I'm going to go, I'll stare at Christy Brinkley.
Take care, everybody.